from the Hellmouth Adjacent, popular cinema podcast. I'm your co-host Payne,
I'm Bill.
and welcome to episode 77.
That sounded like a mad theme. Is that our angry theme?
You know
Birthday.
what? It should be angry because guess what's been? It's been about 3 weeks since we've been on because it was. We gotta play a little bit more of it. Okay, moving
Okay, we're good. Yes, it was. It was birthday week in which me and everyone I know has a birthday.
on. Isn't that true? So we were supposed to record the show maybe a week ago, but it fell right on your special day.
Right? Well, it's a week ago today.
And so, as we know, for the people who've been listening to the show, you like to take off what, several days, sick
Yes,
days.
it's called birthday week. So I started the celebration on Friday after I got off of work. Then it continued on through the weekend and then on to Monday and Tuesday. So I only worked Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday last week.
How was your birthday?
It was fabulous. I did all my favorite things and absolutely everything I wanted to eat. So I got up. I watched Avengers: Infinity War, which is my favorite movie of the year. Then me and the Hubs hung out, and then we had crab legs and
Ooh,
filet
crap.
mignon for dinner. And then we watched Justice League, which was my other favorite movie of the year.
Had Chris ever seen Justice League?
He had not.
Okay.
And he
So
said he enjoyed it.
did he have a choice, or did you already set up the itinerary of what you were going to be watching for your birthday weekend?
Oh yeah, there's no choice. There's no votes here. This is a dictatorship. So
There's a joke in there that's actually kind of funny, but anyway.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Dictatorship.
So, is the celebrations all over?
I suppose they're winding down for the year. I mean,
Did
there
you get
is another
any gifts?
holiday coming.
I know you spent some QT together and some other stuff. Did you get any gifts?
I did. I got $100 Amazon gift card. I got the Matrix remastered Blu-ray trilogy.
Nice.
Yeah. What else did I get? Some cash. I think that might be it. Oh, and the Art of Avengers: Infinity War book, which was my
Oh.
favorite gift of all.
So how do you do it? Do you sit down and does you guys light up candles on sing happy birthday and then you unwrap the presents, or is it?
No, you know what cake we got? We got that cake that your sister had us over for dinner with. It's called Nothing Bundt Cake. This Bundt Cake place, the most delicious cake ever in the world. And
Now,
so
there's one that's right by us.
You should go.
It's like 5 minutes. It's right next to the Chipotle, oddly enough. And now, ever since you've been talking about it, I want to try it.
Oh, you should go because they have these little Buntlet things. They're like Buntinis or something. They're called. They're like mini personal Bundt cakes, and you can try all of them because they're like delicious.
What's
all
the
of
price
them.
range on those bad boys?
Listen, an 8-inch cake is about $20. So you can
8-inch
imagine.
cake? Is that big? Is that a big cake, or I don't know what
Well,
that is?
you know what 8-inch. Well, maybe you don't know what 8 inches look like, but get a ruler, and then you can see 8 inches, and that's about
Okay.
the size of
What's the width then? I get the.
Well, it's
the
round, so
width
it's
and
8 inches all around.
Okay. All right. Well, how tall?
I don't know, maybe 2-3 inches.
Okay. All right.
It's a substantial cake. Trust me, I still have some of it left, and it's been a week.
So what did you get? You get vanilla, marble?
Your sister got the white chocolate raspberry, which I fell in love with. So that's what we got.
Ugh. Whatever it just happened.
No, believe me.
People just getting like normal cakes, like marble or chocolate or vanilla.
When you taste the cake, you'll understand why. Because I was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to like this cake in the first place. Because, I don't really eat that many sweets anymore. It's kind of difficult for me to process sweets. But, I wanted to try it because it was like, your sister had it over for dinner. And, hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. And I was like, oh my God, this is so delicious. So delicious. Oh, no. So that's
Uh,
all fair.
uh,
So
well, I can tell you for my birthday week, Bill. Am I saying birth? It's I think it's that Youngstown, the yo. I mean, where you
yeah,
go birth. You don't
yeah,
the th birth.
birth, MFR birth.
Anyway, you know what I asked for my special day? I asked that my woman watch one of my, something from my oeuvre of my choice. And, I had to rack my brain over 2 days because you're trying to, I don't know if you have this. I think since you run a dictatorship over there, I don't know if you had these early trials and tribulations. But I've got a list over 114 movies that are on my favorite list, as well as my top TV shows. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to have 2 hours. What do I pick that she's going to sit down and watch the program with me?
Hmm.
And it's very difficult. You saw I sent over some of my choices because I can't go too hardcore. I can't put all Evil Dead because that's just not going to be in the wheelhouse. So you got to find something that's kind of she can accept. But anyway, I was going to go with Carlito's Way.
Which was my
Well,
pick.
was your pick, and the Minority Report had made the list because she likes a little bit of sci-fi, and Carlito's Way is a little bit gangster. We do gangster in this house, Goodfellas Casino. So I ended up
Y'all are
just
street
going with
like
The
that.
Wire, which is probably my all-time favorite TV show. Just 2 episodes, and I was all very excited after having like some sort of like 12-ounce ribeye and a whole bunch of food. Got on the couch, got the blanket, put on the fireplace, fired up the first episode, and as it's coming on, I look over and she's on her phone tapping away.
I
And
told you we have a no phone policy in this house. When it's time for us to sit down and watch the telly, the first thing he does, I give him a look, the phone goes off, and then we just proceed.
and that's exactly what I felt like. What I wanted, but I felt like it was one of those things that I probably should have established those rules ahead of time,
Yeah.
because then she kind of looks up and goes, "I'm paying attention," and I'm like, "Okay." And then within the 3 minutes, I look back over again, and she goes, "I'm looking, I'm paying attention." She goes, "So, who is that guy?" It's like 5 minutes into the fucking show, and I want to say something like, "We just started the show." I don't know. Okay, you have to pay attention, and then you'll know as the show proceeds.
But you do know because you've seen this show like 15 times.
Yeah, but I'm not here to be a guidepost. I'm just here to. I watch it. You know what it is? When I put on the show, I know you're the same way. It's like I'm watching it for the first time,
Right.
even though it's not the first time. I watch it with fresh and new eyes.
Sure.
You know, and so of course by 15, 20 minutes in, I get I look over and the eyes are closed.
Ah,
Well, I've already sat there and go, you know what? I've gone with the wrong choice. I should have just gone with Carlito's Way, where there had been some sort of,
now, see,
violence and
15 minutes
action.
in wasn't too late for you to salvage this. You could have just popped in Carlito's Way right then and just like shook her real hard.
Oh, oh no, no, because then it would have went to no. I'm paying attention, and then so this guy is a drunk guy. I'm like this. Yes, yes.
You know she's only asking these questions so she can force herself to like try to understand and like stay awake so she doesn't fall asleep.
Yeah, I understood. That's exactly what it is. And
Okay.
so by that time, we made it to got to the sort of the second episode. And of course, I'm waiting. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the.
Oh, that was good,
Oh,
babe. Let's see the next one. Yeah, that's what you're waiting for. That's not gonna happen.
yeah. At the end of the second episode, all I got was just like, I guess we're going upstairs to go to bed, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Oh, I don't know why you make the most harebrained choices. You had an easy choice. You had two good movies you could have picked, but you decide to try to indoctrinate this girl into a TV series that has like 5 seasons.
Yes.
After you've had a big heavy meal and you're just sitting down on the couch for an evening's entertainment. I don't know. Maybe you should start that on birthday morning. I'm just saying.
you know what? I tried to shoot my shot, as they say.
You're right.
You know, I went for it. I really, you know what it is. You have the same thing.
I
You sit
do.
there, you hope you put on the show, and you hope that the other person enjoys it. Now, it doesn't lessen my enjoyment of this show, but you kind of like, I hope you enjoy it, and then I can watch all the seasons again. But I don't know. I don't.
Well, I gotta tell you, when Wonder Woman does that thing at the beginning of Justice League where she speeds across the people and she's deflecting the bullets and shit,
Uh huh.
at that point, everybody else in the world just fades away, and I just go, "Oh my God, it's Wonder Woman! It's Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman!" And that's all. I'm out. I'm all in. Everything else just fades away. So I didn't really care if he liked it or not. He could have fell asleep. I would never even notice. So
You know, the whole idea behind these and our thing, I don't. The collection is, it's like the Jim Jones. You want them to drink the Kool-Aid here. You're like, here, I've got a whole list of movies here. Here's some whole bunch of choices. Would you want to pick one? And then go off list. You're like, no, no, you don't need to go off list. Here's all the great movies. I've already, like, curated
yeah,
them. I
you
looked
had
over
a
them.
list.
Yeah, yeah. Just we go off this. This is perfect here. Nope. Nope. I think you were right though. I think you said I was too thirsty. I think
Yeah,
that was probably
she
the.
can feel it. It's like when Ferg wants attention and you're not feeling it, and you just want to give some love to Scooties, and you don't give the attention to Ferg because you know he's thirsty for it. So you want to go the other way. That's what she does.
So was I supposed to do like, yeah, hey, I'm just gonna put in this show. Yeah, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't, whatever. Is that what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
supposed to do?
yeah. Or like, you want to try this show, or I mean, we've got other choices. So if you don't like it, we can always pop it out.
How did you gain power over your movie and TV selection? Did you always have a dictatorship from the beginning, or did you have to wait and then do a coup like 2 years in or something?
It's in the word, dick. That's how I
I
did it.
I can't. And there we are. That's why we're at the explicit rating. 10 minutes in, explicit rating. There you go.
So,
Uh
but yeah,
anyway, so
I had a lovely birthday week. I hope you did as well.
yeah, it's
Yours
good.
was capped off with a birthday party with all your friends last night. How did that
Yeah.
go?
We had a super fan Carlos and super fan Melissa. All showed up, and a few other people, and it was nice. It was a cool little hip place.
What was the name of this
Uh,
place? Distillery?
Distill. I think that's what
Distill.
it is. Distill, and it's a distillery which serves liquor. You would have loved it.
I'm sure.
Um, Superfan Melissa got there early. Apparently, she asked her husband if he wanted to go early for a drink, and he was like, "Hell yeah!" He's like, "Yeah." So I got there. When you get there, all of a sudden you see your friends, and they're just like, they already had a couple drinks in, like the party's already started, but you're like
Without
20
you,
minutes late. Yeah. So, but the
they
liquor
were
was
feeling okay.
yeah, the liquor was good. I had a couple drinks, and part of me, I don't really go to the mat anymore. But
Right.
I had two drinks, rum, some sort of pineapple rum, some. I felt like I could have probably had four more. I could have really just got. I was ready to get lit partly, but then I kind of retracted a little. I retracted, and
Well,
so.
you can do that once a year on your birthday. I think you'll be fine. It's not like you're going to turn into an alky overnight or something.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But it was good. It was good. There were some jokes, there were some laughs. Carlos actually tried to throw out a movie trivia question. I think in the restaurant bar, whatever you want to call it, they played a song, Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears
Oh,
for Fears.
that's a classic.
Yeah, do you know they play that song at the end of what movie? You probably won't get this.
Um,
It's
uh, is it a John Hughes movie?
it's Real Genius. I don't think that's
I
John
don't think I've
Hughes.
ever seen Real Genius.
Oh, okay, with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I kind of knew that because that was a very cool movie for me, and I liked the movie soundtrack. There was a few songs off that soundtrack that I listened to. Anyway, it was a good time hanging out with friends and
Good.
eating good food, and
What did you have?
I had some sort of steak dish. I think my woman had some sort of chicken dish, and other people had some bolognese, and there were some appetizers. I don't know if it's a place that you would enjoy. There was a lot of
Would you go
frou-frou, like
back?
beef. I would go back for the drinks, and I would go back for the steak, and I think my woman loved her food.
Oh,
So
okay.
it looks like, and I think Carlos, superfan Carlos, looked at it as a great first date place. So if he wants to bring some chicks, I think that place is going to be on the list.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Um, I've got some great housewarming gifts, but apparently we've got to really move up the housewarming part.
What do you mean move up? You've been in there like 8 months.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why it's so slow with it. I mean, the only person we've had over is superfan Carlos, and I don't know why we just haven't like started setting up the foundation. So Melissa, she's just like this. Yeah, so we've been having your housewarming gifts, and
They're
um,
collecting dust over in the corner.
and by the way, I don't have to go any place for the next 2 months, so we're available if you want us to come and see your place and bring over the gifts that we have for you.
You know, the holidays are coming up. A perfect time, a perfect excuse would be like maybe a New Year's Eve party
Mhm.
when people probably would rather stay in than go out anyway. And you can kill two birds with one stone.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's the plan we're working on. But I think after the dinner last night, she's just like, "Hey, listen, we just brought your housewarming gifts because shit, I
So
can't,
she brought them to the birthday party
I
because
can't
they're
wait."
tired of sitting on them. Yeah, that's just sad. But that's nice though. I mean, bonus gifts, right?
Oh no, it's real nice. They were great. Great stuff. Great stuff. Beautiful wrapping though.
Well, what did
I
you
mean,
get?
um, there was a glass that's etched with the marathon and all the cities from Boston that Chris ran. My
Okay.
woman ran the Boston Marathon. And there is also a gallery picture set, which is something we wanted to do, which we're going to do. It's 6 or 7 like picture frames that you
Right.
put up, and we're going to put like obviously family and friends in the
Right.
photos and kind of put them up at the foyer of the front of the house. I mean, front of the yeah, inside
Yeah.
of the house somewhere. So it was something we wanted to do, and how timely. I mean, Superfan
Nice gift.
Melissa's always good with, I mean, with the gift giving. She's like on
Sad that
top
they
of
had to
that
give them
shit.
to you at your birthday, but hey, I'm just
Ah, I
saying.
know it's so delayed. No Chipotle party. No.
How about you make three parties in one, and you can have a Chipotle party, New Year's Eve party, and a housewarming party all at the same time?
No, that's just
I think that sounds great.
yeah. You're all about the convenience. Anyway, so all right. Well, let's get into it. Oh, by the way, I'm watching the. You uploaded the Meg to your Movies Anywhere app.
I
I
did.
need you to keep me posted when you get new movies and you upload them.
Well, I was a little bit busy because that was my husband's birthday celebration, so I was just trying to get it in there so we could watch it, and then I forgot to tell you.
Okay. Oh, by the way, shout out to my sister because it's been like, what is it, 3, 4 days since my birthday, and she has yet to call me to wish me happy birthday. So,
Boy. But we're not bitter, so that's good.
oh no, no, not bitter at all.
Mm-mm.
Indeed. Okay. So I'm watching the Meg. I'm about an hour into it. I'm not enjoying it whatsoever.
I
Um,
figured you'd like it on like a dumb action movie kind of level.
yeah, it's actually not enough action. That's the
Oh,
funny
I
part
would
about
agree
it
with
for
that.
me.
But once it
I mean,
gets, have you caught into the little girl with the ball and she goes up to the window and the shark bites the window yet?
I just got there.
Okay. I think it's going to start picking up right about now.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I will hope because the first part of it has been very slow with introducing all these characters, and we'll talk off air
How do you
because
like
some of
that
the things.
Chinese lead lady? She's good, isn't she? Isn't she like the next Meryl Streep?
Is that the kid?
No, the lady, the kid's mother.
Oh no, neither one can act.
Well, first of all, it's a little girl, so give her a
I'm
little bit of
sorry. I'm
leeway.
sorry. Those Dakota Fanning sisters, they all can act, and they were children. So I mean,
The little girl isn't really the problem. The problem is her mother, who's just like reading off a cue card off camera on every line she gives.
I
She's terrible.
we'll talk more about the Meg because I have some sort of like TCP after dark comments, but
Okay.
I'm hoping that the action part of it kicks up as you said. I also saw. I finished today while I was kind of getting things in order. I watched Black Klansman, that
Was that
Spike
good?
Lee film. It was good. Shockingly enough, I enjoyed it. I
I did
enjoyed it.
not think it would not be good. I kind of thought from the trailer that it looked like one of his better later entries.
Yeah, yeah. No, with Adam Driver in it. I
Yeah.
don't know who actually the other actor is, but it was, it had a nice pace to it.
It's supposedly
Um,
based on a true story.
yeah, based on a guy, the Ron Stallworth, I think is his name, who wrote a book when he back in the '70s when he infiltrated the Klan. So, I mean, obviously, I think there's some extra liberties taken with it, but it was engaging and it was an enjoyable movie.
So would you put it up there with, because like even I have to admit, Do the Right Thing is a damn good like early starter film for a director. Would you put it up there on that level, or would you put it down with like She's Gotta Have It level?
Um, I know this is gonna. I feel like this is gonna really kick me off the podcast, but I don't think I've ever really fully seen Do the Right Thing all the way from beginning to end.
Oh my god. Even I have seen Do the Right Thing. You have never seen Do the Right Thing?
Not all
That's
the
it. The black people want their card back.
way.
You can't be black without having seen that card
I,
movie.
I know I've seen a lot of other Spike Lee movies. What's that one with the bank robbery with Denzel in it and Chitwell Ennimore in it?
Uh,
Um,
uh,
and
I don't
what's
know,
I
but
can't.
we all know that Do the Right Thing is what Spike's known for. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm just saying it's similar to that movie, The Black Klansman is similar to the Heights movie, so I can't really compare it to Do the Right Thing.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Um,
so much for looking to you for advice, I guess, on this.
it was enjoyable though. All right, so let's move on here. I'm going to start off with something small, maybe just a little tidbit, 2 minutes, and then I'm going to jump into something else, and you'll just flow with me, okay?
Okay.
Tyler Perry's not going to be doing his iconic Medea character anymore. He's hanging up the skirt.
I have to tell you, I have yet to see a Medea movie. I own one or two of them, the Christmas one and the Halloween one, but I've never actually watched them yet, and so I've never really seen Medea. I've seen snippets, obviously, of the character, like in commercials and
Yeah,
whatnot,
you haven't seen
but
any of them?
I've never seen a whole Medea movie. No,
There's been like 10 films that have grossed over like $500 million.
I know, and the thing about it is, part of me feels like it's a little bit, what do I want to say, step and fetchedness a little bit. That's not
Yeah,
really the right word. It's just a minstrel show. It feels like a little bit of a minstrel show.
it is.
And I don't know that I'm gonna enjoy that for 2 hours. Like, I think the joke is maybe fine for a few minutes,
Y-
but
y-
I
You
don't know
know,
if I could sustain that
you
for a
know, I
whole
finished
movie.
watching that. Well, I actually didn't finish watching it because I don't understand how I can get a disc from Netflix and you put the disc in and then it starts to stick like it's dirty or something else like that. I don't understand how that's possible when the movie, is the disc is just
Did
issued
you look at
fresh.
the disc and clean it off?
Oh yeah, it's not like the disc has been like passed around in some sort of first grade classroom.
How
It
do you
comes out
know?
with.
You don't know what
I
the hell
looked
that.
at it.
Okay.
It looks clean. But anyway, my point is, I watched The Spy, part of it, The Spy Who Dumped Me with Mila Kunis, and I can't remember that blonde from.
Amy Schumer.
No, it's not her. It's Kate McKinnon.
Okay.
The whole point is that the movie is
Cheetah.
2 hours long, and the jokes are good maybe for an hour, but like 2 hours, it runs. It starts to you start to get bored, and I think with Medea, it's part of those films are like it's funny for the first 30 minutes, and then it just starts to wear on you.
Right. Which
It's
I
a
could. This is what
it's
I'm
a thing
afraid
that
of
goes
for watching
on.
these movies.
Well, you should probably still watch the Halloween one.
I will
I think
probably, and I might watch the Christmas one this year yet. So that's not out of the question. But
it might take.
it has a stench to it, Jay. You know how I get with things that have stenches.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it does. It have a stench? I mean, it's
It's
grossed a
not the
lot of.
stench of death. It's the stench of bad parody.
Okay.
So I'm maybe it doesn't, and maybe I'm just reactionary to what I've seen. but I have a feeling like I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy it. But maybe we'll try. I own the Christmas one. There's no reason why I shouldn't watch it, so maybe we will.
So what was the deal with Tyler Perry? Do you remember when he tried to go like action star? He tried to go.
Yeah, I think maybe he didn't lose enough weight, and so he looked a little puffy, and maybe
Is
people
that
weren't having that.
yeah, I saw that movie with him. I just didn't really buy him as a. It's tough to go from Medea to, um, I don't know, Sly Stallone. It's a hard transition.
He thinks he's one of those super Negroes, where he can do like action and then also be like around in a dress and then also write and produce like 10 different shows on own. You know, he thinks he can do all of it.
Yeah, no, there's limitations on that one. All
So,
right. All right, moving on here. Here's something else. This is some little neat little thing I saw here on Slash.film. It's apparently the 50th anniversary of the Motion Picture Association of America, and they came out with some statistics. Um, since the MPAA started rating movies 50 years ago, they have rated over 30,000 movies as of
wow.
September of this year, and 17,000 of those have been rated R, which is apparently almost
Yeah, I did see
58%.
that. Because you're always bitching about how there's not enough like rated R movies, but if you look at the numbers, that doesn't bear fruit. That is actually true that most movies are rated R.
The question is, are most of those rated R movies are probably the video on demand crap that you never see, but in terms of actually at the theater, I think it'd probably be more skewed towards PG-13 and PG.
I don't know if you can really divvy it up like that. I think I think if you just take the numbers, released in theaters or not, if 17,000 out of 30,000 is been rated R, then that still would say there's a majority of rated R movies.
The second out of the 17,000 are rated R, PG comes in second. Um, there has been 524 NC-17 ratings. What was the first NC-17 rating movie? Do we know?
Um,
Was it
maybe
Midnight
9.5
Cowboy?
weeks,
9.5 weeks? That's
maybe.
okay.
It's just a guess.
We'll have to look that up. If we had some sort of producer, that'd be.
Yeah, maybe if our producer wasn't over there in the corner sleeping as usual, earning his keep.
But anyway, the other part of this, they were talking about the board, the people that actually rate the movies. And I don't, and I guess there's a movie out there called "This Film Is Not Yet R-Rated," and it kind of
Right.
goes behind the curtain. It's how they do it. But it says that the board, apparently the chair currently is Joan Graves, and it's made up of 9 part-time and full-time raters. Um, while the Raiders are a diverse cross section of American parents, they do have some key things in common. They all live in Los Angeles while they're on the board, and they have no ties to the entertainment industry, except for the chairperson. And Raiders must have children between the ages of 5 and 15. And when they begin the job, um, they leave their post once their youngest child turns 21, and they can serve on the board for no more than 7 years. So the ratings apparently are controlled by 9 people.
This seems like a small focus group. I would
Yeah,
think that that's something so important with so much money at stake would have had a bigger sample group, but okay.
yeah. I mean, and
Well, this
apparently,
explains why when people appeal to the board that it isn't like unheard of for ratings to be changed because I imagine with such a small group of people, it's not even 12. You don't even have to change 12 people's minds. 9 is small.
yeah. Anyway, apparently the first NC-17 movie was Henry and June.
Really?
I remember Henry and June. I don't think I've
I
ever
don't know.
saw it. I can remember the actual cover of it, of the
From
box.
Blockbuster?
Something like that. All right, moving on. Disney streaming. More information has come out on Disney Plus.
That's
Apparently,
okay.
it's going to have all these microsites in it, Bill. It's going to have these like worlds of Disney. It's going to have Star Wars,
Oh,
Marvel, Pixar,
oh,
National
oh,
Geographic, and Disney.
oh, give it to me now. Give it to me. Take my money. Take all the money.
5 services in one.
Whoop,
Apparently,
whoop.
it will include approximately 7,000 episodes of television and 500 movies. And as far as original content goes, it's going to be starting off with some Star Wars, The Clone Wars Season 7, The
Oh,
Mandalorian, a
oh,
second live action Star Wars series,
oh.
Marvel Studios characters, Loki, Scarlet Witch and Vision, Falcon, Winter
Oh.
Soldier, High Fidelity, a television series reimagining the 2000 John Cusack comedy, Monsters Inc., Mighty Ducks, and Ink and Paint, which I don't know what that is. Sounds like a
Also, High
lot
School
of
Musical is going
content.
to be a series on there.
What's that?
High School Musical.
Oh, did you watch High School Musical?
I did not, but as somebody who's been still grieving 5 years later for Glee, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Oh, okay. So you're just like desperate now for some sort of. Did you
I am.
you see on Netflix they just dropped something? Was it like West Side Story or something? West Side, I think it's called
Uh-uh.
musical.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not.
Well, just check it out. So
I will.
anyway, so what do you think of these 5 worlds of Disney Plus?
I think of all the streaming services, this is going to get the most of my attention yet. I think, yeah, they're going to turn me into one of those Wally people with the chairs before it's over. So,
Wally.
yeah, all this content is like A-list content for me. Star Wars, Clone Wars, all the Marvel shows that are actually featuring characters from, here's a concept, the movies. Here's another concept, same continuity, and not pretending like they're in the same universe, even though there's nothing else in the show itself that tells you that. Which, by the way, we are watching Daredevil season 3, and we're finishing Iron Fist season 2. Let me just say, I completely understand why they canceled Iron Fist because I am bored out of my mind watching this show. And Daredevil, I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I'm not going to cry if they cancel that one either.
I think I just saw an article that they're lobbying for a season 4.
Well, yeah, they pitched the creators or the directors or the showrunner, whatever, pitched idea for season 4 to Netflix, but the verdict is still out.
That seems like that universe is dying over there. It's better just to let it go. Just let it go.
I mean, I'm honestly ready for it to let go. Now, the ironic part about it is, at the same time they're canceling all these Netflix shows, they just, before it even airs, which isn't until July of next summer, they've renewed season 7 for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which hasn't even aired its season 6 yet. Which is weird because, I mean, quite honestly, the show was hanging by a fingernail based on its ratings before they even got to season 6, which is why there's basically a year, almost over a year, between season 5 and season 6 airing. Season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended in May of 2018. Season 6 isn't going to air until July of 2019. And they've already renewed it for season 7.
You mentioned that to me, and I'm thinking more about it that maybe they want to keep a foothold in the general television arena.
Which,
And
I
not to
guess,
mention they're going to be dropping their streaming service, so maybe it's going to, boost everything.
well, look, if they give the show some decent money, because by the end of season 5, you're starting to see like the sets shake like they do on the soap operas, because they've cut the budget so much because the ratings were so low. And they've basically created a show which everything takes place within one room. And then here and there they add like special effects, which would be fine if the rest of the show didn't look like it cost $10. The effects I'm not complaining about. The special effects are actually decent for a TV show. It's just that you can tell by looking at it that they've spent all the money on the effects and they have no other money left for like sets and like locations and stuff. So I hope that they go back to a more dynamic looking show, which, while we're on the subject, this is my biggest complaint about what we're talking about with Titans too. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have noticed that Titans looks like shit.
Okay.
The look of the show. Because I'm like, why is everything so dark on this show. Everything's so dark and dingy. It's like they can't afford to turn the lights all the way up. Have you noticed this on Titans?
Well, I think that's the idea of the show, is to give it like an overcast look. There's a lot of
Well,
grays and muted tones.
I understand that, but instead of overcast, I would prefer to call it ugly. The show looks ugly. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you've got these characters that have these dynamic costumes and you can barely see them because the lights are so fucking dim in the studio where they're filming them. I mean, there was one scene where actually last night we were watching episode 5, okay? And
Oh,
they were in the
okay, I haven't
hotel
got that
room.
far. I think I'm still on. I haven't started episode 5, but go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, they're in a hotel room with Raven, Robin, and Starfire. And it is so dark that you actually, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass about skin tone, but I could not make out any features in Starfire's face. I'm literally going, is she smiling? Is she looking sad? What's happening? I can't see because the lights are so dim.
You're okay. All right.
And then, to compare it, because I'm like, maybe it's just my TV settings or something, right? So then we watch Daredevil, which, by the way, is a dark show also, but you can still see everybody, and you can still see the action that's happening. It's not the tone, it's the fact that they're using like subpar, maybe cinematographers or subpar lighting people. I don't know what they're doing.
Is it the same cinematographer from Han Solo that they're using?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like Han Solo, where you're just like, why is everything so fucking muddy? It all looks like grays and, oh. I watched Han Solo on Blu-ray because I was thinking maybe it'll look better on my TV because my TV is like, the shit. And it still looks like shit. So, it's not our fault. It's the people that make the shit.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stick with the muted tones. You made me forget my train of thought where I was going with something.
I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
back
just
to
went on a rant.
you did go on a rant. The Disney Plus here. This is my issue. This is very exciting. That's a lot of content, which is what I want. That's what you want from one of these services, is that you want to pay a low price and get a whole bunch of content, which is what Netflix provides.
Right.
But the issue now, as everybody's starting to cut the cord, and there was just another article out there about how these cable companies are still hemorrhaging thousands of people because this cord cutting is obviously a huge wave. The issue is now I would have to maybe start cutting some sort of other services because
Why?
what are you talking about? Because you're trying to lower the price. You're not trying to pay. I'm not trying to pay cable prices. The whole reason why I cut the cord was to not have to pay as much.
No, the reason why you cut the cord is because you're paying for something you don't use because you didn't watch 90% of the channels that you were paying for already. With Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu, you actually watch the programming, so you shouldn't mind paying as much money for it because you're getting more for your buck.
I don't know. Listen. I have Netflix. I have HBO Now, Hulu, Shudder. Does PlayStation View, does that count?
Well, I mean, not really, because you got to have something.
Yeah, so that's 4. And now potentially Disney streaming service?
Don't forget, WB is doing their own streaming service too.
Oh no. Oh no. What are they showing that I need to
I don't know. Haven't heard much about it, but I mean, I know that they're putting like all the Warner Brothers content under one service. So
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about, Bill. It's getting ridiculous. Everybody's striking out for their own services. And Amazon Prime. I forgot Amazon Prime.
right, the big three are Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. Soon to be joining the big three will be Disney.
Yeah. The whole idea is you're trying to keep it all under $100, and now you're starting to raise everything's starting to go up. It's
not going up. It's just that there's more of it, but it's more fragmented.
I don't know how this is all going to work out.
It's going to work out like this. When they have all this fucking badass content on there, you're going to open up that wallet and pull out some dollars and slap it down on the table.
My woman looked at me just the other day because I had the disc, the Netflix disc on the counter.
Was she like, "What is this? A coaster? What is this?"
She's like, "Do you really need to be having this service? You really use this?"
Oh, oh. Does she not know to whom she's living with? Really? I mean, why doesn't she just be like this? Do you really need to breathe? Can you maybe just sit down and not breathe?
So I said in about 2 or 3 more years, obviously they'll be phasing out this disc, and then I can stop paying these prices. But of course, as she's watching me, I have the movies on, like, because I'll put them on, like it's just sort of like I'm doing other things, but I'll have them on the thing that you hate, not paying attention to the movie.
Oh,
But if I say if the movie is good, then I'll pay attention. But obviously, it's not good. And then, of course, it just leads to questions of going, then why are you watching it then if it sucks? And I'm like, well, I don't know if it sucks yet. I got to watch a little bit more of it and this or that. But I've watched some stinkers. It's some stinkers.
yeah,
all
but
around.
you're all about quantity. You want to watch everything. If you could watch everything, you would. The only thing stopping you is the limitations of time, and maybe that you prefer to
And
do
my
some other
woman
things.
trying to maintain a relationship. That's probably that.
Right. Well, there's that. But left to your own devices, you just be like in that house, but like
Wally.
waiting for the whale. Yes, waiting for the mailman to deliver the discs, and like bathing like once a week.
Content must absorb
Oh,
all
I must have
content.
more brains.
Uh, all right, I got to get to my thing that I rail on this all the time on this. Apparently, Lee Childs, the British author who created the character Jack Reacher, I bitch and moan about this ad nauseum off air. Apparently, he came out that said Tom Cruise will no longer be playing Jack Reacher. Quoted to BBC Radio, he said, "There won't be any more movies with Tom Cruise. Cruise, for all his talent, didn't have that physicality." I really enjoyed working with
Figure that
Cruise.
out?
He's really, really a nice guy. We had a lot of fun, but ultimately the readers are right. The size of Reacher is really, really important, and it's a big component of who he is. All I want is those readers who are upset about Tom Cruise to help me out. To help me out. Participate in choosing the right actor for the TV series. We're rebooting and starting over, and we're going to try and find the perfect guy. Bill,
I think it's nonsense. I mean,
okay.
here's the thing. If you're like Hugh Jackman, who was the opposite of what Wolverine was portrayed as in the comic, like short and stout, but Hugh Jackman's like 6'3", but he rocked that role. If you have the fucking juice, you can rock the fucking role no matter what it calls for. You're an actor. You're supposed to make people believe in shit that isn't real.
I know the Hugh Jackman comparison, but here, I'm going to answer that question and then bitch and moan about it. Tom Cruise is 5'7", and apparently in Lee Child's book, Jack Reacher is supposed to be 6'5", with the hands the size of dinner plates. I think that's the way he's described in his book.
Is there a human being, Jay, actually that is that large? Are they going to have to make?
Have you seen the mountain on Game of Thrones? The mountain on Game of Thrones is that large. There
Okay.
you go. Anyway, my point is, I'm going to give props. I've already wrote to you on this. I guess there's my feeling of I was mad because I knew the Jack Reacher character. I had listened to maybe half an audiobook, and Tom Cruise, the whole role is designed for him to walk into a room and you to feel scared. When everybody else is the same size as Tom Cruise, it's really difficult, even though he's mean mugging everybody. Like, I wouldn't touch that button if I were you. And the people are like, well, what are you going to do? And then he's like, I'm going to have to take some action. But you're not scared because you're just like, he doesn't look scary. What's that?
They couldn't put him on some Apple boxes. I mean, it's the magic of cinema.
Well,
they
they
should.
should.
Human-sized people look like hobbits, but they can't make Tom Cruise look like a big man.
That's exactly right. They didn't do that.
But they
didn't do
could.
that. Well, they didn't.
Okay.
And that was a huge thing for some people, some fans. I was a huge person that really just I was one of those people that just couldn't stand it. Now I enjoy, and the other component is Tom Cruise, one of my favorite actors. He's very good in his roles. The movies made a lot of money. The second one didn't do as good as the first one. But obviously, this movie, the Jack Reacher movies, probably would not have reached the audience or made as much money without Tom Cruise if they would have just cast some other big guy from Norway. So, I mean, it's a catch 22, but just for the artistic, creative part of it, he never fit the role.
Wait,
And
now other than the
now,
fact that
now, now, why the Hugh Jackman thing? I think I would distinguish that is because with Wolverine, Wolverine's size in the comic books is he's supposed to be considered short, but they don't really harp on that one. It's not a huge thing where he could be standing like eyeball to eyeball. It's not always pronounced in the book. Sometimes he's bigger and taller. It's never one of those things like, of course he's a midget. It varies. It varies throughout the whole book. Only when you describe him in the tones of Wikipedia do you find out that he's short. In the books, his height varied all the time. So Hugh Jackman playing the part wasn't somehow like against canon. It's just like, well, yeah, Wolverine can be any
well,
size,
all I remember
and we
is
don't want
that,
and we don't want Wolverine short to begin with.
well, all I
Okay,
remember is that when Hugh Jackman was cast, there was a huge, and this was before Twitter and all that other nonsense that we now can get instant reactions from, but there was still a
okay.
huge vocal uh, objection to Hugh Jackman getting the part before he was actually seen in the movie because of his height and his
You know
size.
what? Apparently I have rose-colored lenses, and I don't remember that, but I don't doubt that. I
So let me ask you a question.
well,
Have
so
you
what? The
ever
whole idea though is Hugh Jackman owned it,
right
Wolverine, but I don't think Tom Cruise has owned Jack Reacher.
now?
And
Let me
Tom
ask you a
Cruise is a
question.
great actor.
Have
There's
you
nothing he can do on this here. Like it's almost like the opposite. You can go from short to big, but you can't go from big to short.
have
Okay, you
you
can't have
well, they did
Superman,
Hobbits?
Jeremy
Have,
Renner.
have you ever read a Jack Reacher novel?
I listened to half an audiobook.
Really? So
listen, listen. I'm fucking passionate about my shit, Bill. No matter what, even if it's half a book, I'm in. I'm in.
how many Jack Reacher books are there? Are there like dozens of them?
Oh yeah, there's dozens of them. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
So based on half a book, you're pissed off about the guy's physicality, even though you've never really invested in this property anyway before the movies.
Listen, I know what I want you to match your shit up to the character. Okay, that's what I want.
I
And
mean,
this
are they
is
constantly describing his frame in the
yes, it's,
audiobook? Are they like this
that,
huge Goliath of a man with hands the size of car cups or whatever?
yes, that's the whole thing. Is his size and his build and how he hurts people. So it's all that. He's like the Hulk. He's like the
Tom
walking
Cruise
Hulk.
has made a 35-year career out of being 5'7" and pretending to be a normal sized person. No one noticed until now.
Because now he's trying to play something like Thanos. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, he's finally reached the limitation. Okay. Jack
Yeah,
Reacher
you
is
know what
too
it's
much.
called? Old age, and they're throwing him out to pasture like they do all other old people. That's why he's no longer like in the demographic. So now he's too old for the part, I guess.
Is that why we're going back to Top Gun? Are we going full circle? Is this how like you're going out the pasture? You have to go back to your old stuff.
Now, let me tell you this. I would actually not mind seeing Tom Cruise play Wolverine now that we're going to get a new one in the MCU. What do you think about that?
Wait, say that again.
I would not mind having Tom Cruise play Wolverine now that we're getting a new version of him in the MCU.
I thought you just said that Tom Cruise is a little bit long in the tooth.
He is, but so is Wolverine. Wolverine's like 100 years old, isn't he?
Oh man, you know what? That's tough, Bill. That's real tough. I
You don't
mean,
think he would be decent?
I think Tom Cruise could be fine, but I still have Hugh Jackman it's so fresh in my mind.
I understand, but you're gonna have to get over it because Hughes.
I know. I'm not sure I'm there. You're asking me to get over it. And as soon as you said that, I'm like, I don't know. And it's not that Tom Cruise can't act or sell a role. I just don't know if I'm ready for it. I think you know what it is. You probably have to give me somebody I don't know. I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
the whole reason I cast Hugh Jackman, and that worked brilliantly for them.
Yeah, I
But
don't know if you go Tom Cruise because Hugh Jackman was so good, and then you're going to another A-list actor. It causes conflict for me. I feel like I might give somebody else a better chance if I don't know them and don't know their history or baggage or anything else. I mean, that's my honest answer. I
okay.
think I would need somebody. I would prefer somebody new. It seems tough. It seems a tough shoes to fill.
What about Taron Egerton?
He'd have to dye his hair, right?
Well, I'm sure he'll wear a wig, whatever. But he's the right height for the comic character, and he's got that kind of
Or are
like
they?
growly.
It depends on what they're going for. Are they going for young or are they going for adult? I guess it depends.
Right,
If they're
I don't
going
know.
for young, then obviously I would be fine with that. If they're going older, then he was not going to fit older.
They're going for whatever Kevin Feige says they're going for. That's what they're going for. Whatever that may be, I don't know. And it's going to be several years before we find out, but
Kevin's like
coming.
this. Give me 10 young actors, and they're like, "Here you go, 10. You know what? Ripped up this list. I want 10 old actors. We'll get you 10 old actors. That's fine.
Exactly.
Give me a mixture. I want a mixture. Okay, fine, Kevin. Whatever you want."
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's.
Are
what,
you
what do you
excited?
think? Are you okay with Tom Cruise then being?
Funnily enough, I think I would be okay with Tom Cruise playing a character like Wolverine because I think he would be good. I think I could see him disappearing into that character. I think I'd like to see an older Wolverine. We've seen Wolverine played youngish at the beginning of the X-Men Fox verse. So yeah, I mean, I like Tom Cruise. It's just that I've never really. It's been some time since I've really seen Tom Cruise in a movie that I thought was really fun and cool and interesting. So,
Oh, okay. I still
I
have
don't
to see
know. Are
Mission
you ready
Impossible
for
Fallout.
the MCU to be completely recast? Because I'm sure that is more likely the route that they're going to go versus keep these people that are going to be in Dark Phoenix
And
for
what
the
do
new
you mean
version.
by recast?
Getting a new Storm, getting a new Jean Grey, getting a new Cyclops, getting a
Oh,
new Wolverine.
absolutely.
Okay.
If we're gonna recast the X-Men, I'm completely on board. I got no issue. I think the only difficulty I have is probably with Hugh Jackman because I think he's one of those. I think he would call like the, um, oh my, Christopher Reeve of the role. He's just one of those guys that's will go down in history when you sit there. I don't know how many Wolverines we'll have in our lifetime, but he has to be the one that laid the foundation and set the tone. And sold the character in terms of with enthusiasm, passion, all that stuff. So, but everybody else, oh yeah, I'm okay with you recasting. I mean, it's not
I
like
just
somehow
don't
I
know.
don't hate the characters that they picked or the people that they have currently. But if they need to recast, I'm not wed
I
to
just
it.
don't know how
So,
many times I can accept recasts. Like, I think that Michael Fassbender is it's a miracle that he turned
oh
out to be as great of a Magneto as he is, considering we already had a great Magneto in Ian McKellen. I think
yeah,
James McAvoy it's a miracle that James McAvoy is as great of a Professor X as we've had since Patrick Stewart was already I think we got, in other words, I think we got very lucky with this younger cast that they put in the First Class trilogy, and that's going to move on to Dark Phoenix in the end. I think Sophie Turner was really good as her turn as Jean Grey after we had Famke Jensen, who was really good too. Um, they've not done justice to the character of Storm since Jump Street, so I'm more willing to accept a recast of that character because I would hope that they would invest finally after 8 films or whatever in making that character a bigger star than they've allowed her to be so far. But it's like the law of diminishing returns. Like, I liked, I mean, it's sort of, I mean, I liked Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but again, I have a thing for Andrew Garfield's version the best. And then recasting with Tom Holland, it kind of feels like, to me, I don't know that recast was needed. and I'm still kind of bitter about it. I like Tom Holland; he's fine. I just don't think he's as good of a Spider-Man as Andrew Garfield was.
You know, I forgot about, and I was quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I forgot about Michael Fassbender. I forgot about James McAvoy, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart. Those were some great actors for those roles. Um, and it's going to be tough to lose them. Some of the other people, James, I'm looking at. I'm thinking of the younger cast.
Right?
What is it? Sophie Turner. I'm thinking of the most recent X Men movies with the
Yeah, Sophie
cast.
Turner, the kid that played,
He was in
uh,
Ready Player
Night-
One.
yeah, Nightcrawler,
Uh,
the new Cyclops. I forget what his name is from Ready Player One.
yeah, yeah. Those guys. I
Jennifer
don't mind.
Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't mind recasting those. I'll miss the older characters. That's for sure. I think they were good, but I just don't know if they really have a place. Um, because I think you almost want to kind of disconnect yourself and start over a little bit. And I
Yeah,
kind of
I would
understand.
hope that Marvel will put some time in between Dark Phoenix, which doesn't come out until next summer, and the time they launch their new X-Men. I'm looking at I'm hoping at least 5 years, if not longer, between the time that they do their recasts. Because, I mean, they don't necessarily they have a full slate. I mean, of course, they want to get the X-Men into the MCU as soon as possible, and I understand that because it's probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular groups. Some of their original people are going to be leaving, but they've got all these other movies, that they want to launch also. So we've got the Eternals, we've got Black Widow, perhaps a new Captain America at some point soon. Um, so I don't know that they need to rush a new X-Men version out there. And I think one of the things that sort of hurt Spider-Man for me is that there was 3 of them within 10 years, and I think that's just too much.
Yeah. Okay.
So, as far as Fantastic Four, I think I would accept them coming into the MCU faster, only because they really only had that one-off movie. We're not talking about a whole series of the last version of it. Um, and
Yeah. So
before
they
then,
haven't
it
had
was
much of a foothold. So
yeah, and before then, it was at least 10 years before they had the original Fantastic Four cast. So I'd prefer to see Fantastic Four before X Men in the MCU, to be honest.
um. Well, they're still dropping the Dark Phoenix story, right? Next year
Yeah, but it doesn't come out for another year. So, well, not year, another 6 or 7 months.
for another 6 or 7 months. So you really can't have a reboot of the X Men world into the Marvel universe because you already have one coming out.
Right, they're not going
You-
to put them in anything related to Infinity War. It's not. It's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while. That's what it seems like because you're just like, didn't we just have a X Men film and now we got a new crew?
Yeah, but that didn't stop them from launching Spider-Man like 3 years after Spider-Man: Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
I
but they had
mean,
one. Well, I guess so. You're right. I guess I'll accept it. Um, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. When you said recasting, the first thing I thought was about Thor, Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. That's the first thought that came to my mind.
I don't
Um,
think. I don't know. I mean, if they do it, I imagine they're going to do it the comic accurate versions. So they're either going to put Jane, which Natalie Portman's already gone from the series, so I don't see them doing that as Thor. But maybe Valkyrie becomes Thor, or some other female character becomes Thor, like it was in the comic. I mean, who says it has to stick? I think maybe they can do a test balloon with it and put him in like a secondary role in one of the Avengers films or something, or the New Avengers, or the West Coast Avengers, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it when it becomes a reboot. Um, and with Captain America, I think they can test balloon either Bucky or um, Sam Wilson and see how that flies.
yeah.
I think
Okay.
it'd be interesting. I, I need them to give me more than the Eternals and Black Widow, though. We've talked about this before, but this is not cutting it for me.
Okay. I agree with you. Well, let's move on here. I mean, we've got some other big news to talk about here. We'll get there. We'll slowly make our way there. There was an article that came out, and I'm kind of springing a few of these things on you at last minute, but you're usually good with going with the flow. There was
Mhm.
an article in Entertainment Weekly about worst TV finales ever,
Okay.
and it gives over 22 of them, which I'm not going to go over 22 of them. I'm just going to kind of scroll through and let your mind think here. But the first one that popped up was Dexter. I think it went like 8 seasons and ended in September 2013.
Right.
Um, I have to admit that was one of the worst finales for me because
Because
I think he became like a lumberjack, and the whole season dragged. It was almost like the writers gave up,
okay.
and so you almost had like filler episodes. Let's just say there was like 18 episodes, like 14 of them were filler. And then when you got down to it, you didn't feel satisfied. He got away, but then he was, I don't know, just off someplace, like just being a lumberjack. And it was just so unsatisfying. And it was almost like you stayed at the party too long for the show. And I was a big fan of Dexter, but it just really went off the rails. And um, it was just not a good way after investing all that time to end that way. Um, Apparently, on here is also The Office season 7 finale. Did you watch that? I know that was
I
one of your
did
shows.
watch it, and all I know is it ran out of steam by the time it was over. I don't really recall the finale that much, but I just remember I was ready for it to go.
I think it says here that it felt this is somebody writing this obviously felt anticlimactic. A finale that spent a full hour searching for a replacement for Michael, only to untimely choose not to choose a new boss. Um,
Right. It should have ended. It's so, like so many shows before it, it should have ended like at least 2 seasons before it actually did. They probably should have ended it when Michael left the show. Honestly,
that was Steve Carell.
yeah.
Okay, and he left. How many seasons did he leave before the end of that?
Like
I
two.
guess. Oh, did it start to fall off after he
Yes.
left?
Yes. It just wasn't funny anymore.
When he left, was that because his career was blowing up in the movie section?
Well, I mean, I guess that was the purported reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. On the list is also Lost. Um, yeah, I never. Lost was really cool for the first. They have that
Did you
other
guys just have like
TV.
lost viewing parties?
I might have. I can't remember. I know it was
Really?
just really. Yeah, I might have gone over Super Fan Melissa's house to watch
Yeah.
Lost. It was really good those first couple seasons, all the intrigue and the mystery, and then it's just like I think I always complained to you at the beginning, like they were. I always felt they weren't sure it was going to be a hit, and then when it became a hit, they put themselves in a corner and then tried to explain the mystery of shit, or
Right.
tried to create more things of like, why does the statue have 5 toes? And before the people are like, oh, coming up with this whole shit, and you're like, oh fuck, I don't know what to do. And we just put 5 toes on there just to be funny. But now it's taking off, and people want to know. We don't really have anything, intelligent to say about it.
Right.
They have Bones on here. Let's move on. The Sopranos. That's one of my top 5 shows.
Did you not like the ending?
Well, you know me with the endings. I kind of want them to. I want the people to finish the story for me, and I don't want there to be like you. Like I don't want to have to pick or choose or think. I want you to craft the story. And if the story ends this way, then so be it. If it doesn't, then so be it. But don't like, what do you think happened? Did he ride off into the sunset and live, or did he ride off into the sunset and die? You can
So you
just,
don't like the ambiguity.
thank you. That's the word. I don't. Just give it to me. Okay, like that's your story, and I don't I'll buy it. And part of it is The Sopranos. It ended with the screen going dark, and my reaction was like some people, I thought my electricity had cut out or the reel had come off the projector. I don't know, but I was pissed. I was pissed. And
But it plays into you like if there was this theory, right, that I even heard at the time of the Sopranos end, that at that moment Tony dies.
yes, right.
And so then your theory is as an atheist or agnostic or whatever it is you are, that there's no afterlife and that there's just a black hole after you die. That sort of plays into that. theory, right?
It does. The thing about it is, like the movie critics and the highbrows will sit there and say the seeds of the ending were planted throughout the last season. Because Tony has to talk about like what happens when you die. And you're like, well, some people just say it just goes black, goes dark.
Right.
And you see all the people coming in into the restaurant where they're sitting, and like some of these people don't fit, so the pieces are there to sit there and say he probably was shot, but I kind of wanted more closure, and maybe I could sit there and be like, oh well, that's probably what happened and that's what's likely, but I think I needed more, and I don't necessarily look at it as being like mind-blowing ending. I look at it
Right.
as being kind of frustrated. That's where I'm at on that. It
Okay.
doesn't lessen the whole series. Also on the list is Seinfeld. Seinfeld.
Yeah, that ending
Um,
was stupid. For sure.
okay. I remember watching part of it. I think they
The
were in the jail.
concept was better than the actual execution. The
Okay.
concept was that they get arrested because they see it's very Seinfeldian, and it sounds funnier than it actually was, but they see some guy getting like mugged in the street, and instead of like helping him, they laugh at him and point fingers at him, and then somebody sees them and they get arrested because they broke the Good Samaritan law.
Okay. It was unfulfilling.
Yeah, and then all the people that they've ever like laughed at or poked fun at during the whole series comes back to their trial for their crime against this guy, and then I mean it got to be a little bit ridiculous. It was ridiculous,
Is
actually.
that an episode you would ever watch again?
No, I would watch the whole series before I'd ever watch that show again.
Oh, okay.
It's probably the
Roseanne.
least funny. I never saw the end of Roseanne. Oh wait, but I do remember the controversy about them winning the lottery, and Dan dies at the end.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have a very good memory because that series finale was in 1997,
Yeah,
and apparently it was also that she was writing a fictional version of her life.
right.
Like things were just all made up. Like you did this whole thing and it's actually not true or something. I think that.
Ironically, they ignored the end of the series when they brought it back for the resurrection of the show, and now then they killed off Roseanne with an opioid overdose. So I don't really watch the show, to be honest with you. I just know because it's kind of big deal. It was a big deal in the relaunch with pop culture, everybody in the culture or whatever.
Okay, Dallas.
I don't remember
finale,
the series finale of Dallas.
Okay, all right. We won't go over it then. And I don't know. Let's see here. There's a few more, but Gilligan's Island, Alf. For your TV shows, some of your favorites, did you like how they ended? Any ones that you felt fumbled the finale?
I did not like the way Buffy ended. I liked Angel's ending better than Buffy's, but I still wasn't in love with it.
Why did you not like Buffy's ending?
Because I think, as you know, I think the show went off the rails in season 6 and season 7, and at the end it was like one more Hellmouth blowing up, and it's like, how many times can we go back to this well of them having? I mean, that's basically every single season finale of Buffy was the Hellmouth is going to open up. Okay, and I didn't like I really hated the way they treated Anya and Xander's relationship at the end. Like, I just recall that he left her basically to die in the vampire pit or whatever it was in, and he got himself away but didn't really save her. I thought that was bullshit. I just by that time I was really kind of done with the show, to be honest with you. So
I gotcha. I think the Xander relationship with Anka, that was always like a special one for some reason for me.
yeah,
And it was a okay, all right. I don't know if it was the show wasn't as good as some of the earlier seasons. It started to falter a little bit. I don't for me it fumbled the ending completely, but it just wasn't.
because wasn't there something about multiple Buffys at that point? Like they had
Well,
changed
her
the
power
prophecy?
had got what's the word? Disseminated amongst the other women.
Right.
the
So now everybody that was, because there was a rule that could only be one Slayer at a time during
right,
those
and now
movies.
there's a whole
Right.
bunch,
Right. And
essentially.
so now it became like a world full of Buffys. I don't know. I just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. Um, Here, let me see here. Okay, all right. Well, Ferg just peed all over the floor
Oh,
upstairs, so
great.
I forgot to put on his diaper, and
How did you forget to put on his diaper?
I just did, and I just texted my woman. I go, I forgot to put on Ferg's diaper. Can you please put it on? And she wrote back, I figured that out after I put him in the bathroom, and he peed on the floor.
Oh,
So
well, at least it was in the bathroom, which is tile, right?
yes, yeah,
So at least it
yes.
wasn't in carpet.
No, 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 no. Okay. All right, well, let's go here. This is some sad news, obviously. Um, we lost the icon, Stan Lee. He was 95 years old. Um, just because we're mentioning him at this point of the show, does that mean somehow he's, what do you call, less than? It's just the way, kind of the order of
No,
things.
you listen. It's a terrible, sad thing when people die ever. I mean, obviously, but the man was 95. Okay, let's
Oh
not
yeah, yeah.
act like he was some
Uh,
kind of spring
I
chicken.
think in terms of like the connection, the man created. He was like a part of, created, co-created so many of the books that I read as a kid. And what do we
Well, the
got? Spider
characters that were
Man.
still, now
Oh,
are
we're
at
still
the
going to see movies
actual
for.
pinnacle of pop culture awareness. I mean, Fantastic Four was one of his big creations. Spider-Man obviously is what he's most well known for. He created the X-Men. I mean, just basically everybody in the fucking Marvel universe.
Now yeah, you're right. I think they said about over like 1,000 characters. Um, but the X Men, that's one of the that's like my huge collection. My
Right.
huge comic book collection is all built upon the X Men. And the reason why I collected the X Men was because it essentially was a social commentary on, like, racism, essentially, about people being
Sure.
different and mutants, obviously, them being minorities in my mind and being treated, even though they're just trying to do good, but a world that hates them anyway. It was just, it spoke to me on that level as a way of just trying, I related to it.
Sure.
And those books today, I don't know. Anyway, it's amazing. All that shit came out of one man's head.
Right.
It's like it's just
What's
um,
even more amazing is that these characters, some of them were created. I mean, Captain America was created in the 40s. Um, so you're looking at over 60, 70 years worth of story, and yet these characters are as relevant now as they were, if not more so, when they were created. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
somebody that created something that spans generations of people. I mean, he's like the George Lucas of comic books.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
You know,
comparison. That's a hell of a comparison right there. So
so yeah. I mean, what more can a person ask for out of their life than to be relevant beyond their own lifetime? And I think these characters will be relevant in whatever versions, if it's something that's being beamed into your eyeballs in 34 or 45, 50, whatever years. Um, I still think that Captain America and the X-Men will be in the oeuvre.
um, what do we got? I forgot. Iron Man, Black Panther, Doctor
Right.
Strange.
I mean, and the thing about it is, at the time that Black
Humans.
Panther was created, that was a time of social upheaval in the country. That was like the civil rights movement, and Stan Lee aired on the right side of history at a time when it wasn't popular to do. You know,
Oh
even
yeah.
though you could say he also did like a black exploitation thing with Luke Cage. What it was more of an answer to what was going on in the culture at the time, as far as like Shaft and all that other stuff than it was some kind of derogatory thing. Even though looking back on it, now it seems maybe some of those notions were a little bit antiquated. But to make a black man the title of his own character comic, make him a king of a country, I mean, who was doing that kind of thing in the 60s? You were just basically trying to fucking duck and cover and stay the fuck out of the way, probably. Right? And not try to get your fucking head blown off or whatever in the middle of all that upheaval. But that was
Oh,
brave and socially forward.
oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, as I sit here in studio, I can look over at my comic books and all those stories, I don't read them anymore, but they're just so rich. They're so rich.
Well,
And
what
it's
they are is
and
modern. They are our modern mythology. I mean, that's what these comic books are. Our modern mythology. They are our, you know, ancient Greek myths come to life. It's what we have as an ancient Greek myth.
oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking over the list of characters here. Hawkeye, Nick Fury, Galactus, the Silver Surfer, Kingpin. I mean,
Have you started Daredevil season 3 yet?
I have not started Daredevil season 3.
What are you waiting on?
The Man in the High Castle, the Teen Titans. I'm watching some horror movies on Shudder called Supermax.
But
Supermax.
it has your
Uh,
favorite villain in the history of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
yeah, but he's in a pool of poo, Bill. He's surrounded in a pool of poo.
You don't know
Uh,
that. You haven't seen it, and you don't. And I can tell you now, he doesn't stay in the pool of poo for very long.
Okay. You're telling me I have so much. I have so much to watch.
Your mic is getting low. Would you put your microphone back
I'm
close to your
sorry.
face?
I'm sorry.
That's better.
There's just so much. There's so much.
Well, sure, but surely you can find time to watch your favorite Marvel villain, right?
He's on the list.
Okay. I mean,
Uh,
can't you watch it at work? On your
yeah, I
lunch break,
can.
of course.
Oh, I can. Yeah, it's a very good point. It's a very good point.
Okay.
I've been listening to sports radio at work, so
Okay.
it's been kind of that. But,
Can you get
but it makes me
Netflix on your computer, or do they block you at work?
I do a lot of shit that's inappropriate, but one thing I don't do is I pull up Netflix and watch shows on the main computer. So I don't do that. I
Okay.
do shift around and add movies to my queue, but I
Right. So you
don't
go to the
actually
site. You just don't
right.
watch the movies on the show. Okay.
Yes,
You could do
yes.
that on your lunch break, right? I mean, isn't that allowed?
I don't think that's really part of the I don't know what you call it, the internet policy that
Okay.
says it's your lunch break. You could
Acceptable
just hit
use policy.
upload.
We have one of those. Now
Oh,
they're
do
trying to,
you?
yeah, they try to block. Well, it's it is a school district, so they do try to block you from like, like I can't go to eBay and stuff like that because I guess
Yeah,
they don't
it's
want me shopping on.
you know,
Well, I can go to Amazon all day long.
I can go to eBay, I can go to Amazon, I can go to a lot of websites. But if I try to do any type of gaming sites like
Yeah, the gaming
GameStop,
site. Any word with the word game in it, it's automatically blocked.
yeah, what's the deal with that?
I don't know. Productivity, maybe. Just a guess.
I mean, I'm just going to look at what games I'm going to be, to play to be unproductive, but I'm not going to actually play them online anyway. Um, here's a list of fall's top 50 most watched broadcast shows. I'm not going to go
Say
over
the list
this.
again. What is this list of?
50 most watched broadcast shows
In
of this
history?
fall. Of
Of this
fall.
fall. Okay.
This fall. Obviously, apparently, number one is Sunday Night Football with 20 million eyeballs. I'm assuming. Big Bang.
What's a little bit of chronic traumatic encephalitis? That's nothing. Turn it on. Take the helmets off. Whatever.
America is built on violence. We turn it on and we watch it.
Mm-hmm.
R-rated movies. Anyway, number two, The Big Bang Theory. Three, NCIS, 15 million. Something Manifest. I think that's the Lost
It's the
thing.
new Lost. It's the show where the people are on the airplane and they all disappear for like 5 years and then they come
14
back.
million. I guess that's good, right? Huh? It's in top
I-
five.
I mean, yeah, it's not bad for a broadcast show, sure.
Young Sheldon, This Is Us, OT, The Good Doctor, and FBI. There you go.
Hmm.
That's your top 10.
Those must be broadcast shows because I didn't hear Walking Dead in there.
This is broadcast shows. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is. So it's weird because when I look at the 50 broadcast shows, I mean, you still watch Empire?
No, I haven't watched Empire since season 1.
Okay. What about the Goldbergs?
From time to time. It's
Okay,
not as funny as it used to be.
that's the number 50th show.
Where's Blackish?
I don't see Blackish in the top 50. That's,
Really? That
Yeah.
would be very disappointing to me.
I'm
It's got to be in
sorry.
the top 50.
It-
It's got to be. I don't believe that it's not in the top 50.
It's not in the top 50, Bill.
Maybe it wasn't on that week or something.
Okay, well, maybe that's the case then, but it's not there.
By the way, I'm just going to get this Blackish rant out of the way. It's going to take like 2 minutes, but they they had the 100 episode this week,
good for
and
them.
what I don't like though is when they get real. Listen, I know the show is called Blackish. I get it. It's going to be a topic of discussion on the show
They got
sometimes.
Preachy. They got a little too preachy.
Yes, they get a little preachy. It wasn't preachy. It was like they did a special episode about Prince, right? And the young kids don't know who Prince is, the young kids in the family. So they have like a meltdown, the parents, because their kids don't know who Prince is. And they're like, they act like every black person is in love with, especially like later era Prince, just because they're black. I hate when they do stuff like that because it's just like, no, you can't paint. Some things it works for, absolutely. Like, some of the subjects that they hit on are specific to the black community. I just don't know that Prince is really one of them, especially lately. And so it just becomes sort of like irritating to me because it's like, well, not everybody in the black community loves Prince like this. I don't know.
I would agree
didn't
with
work
you
for
on
me.
that one.
It didn't work for me. I thought it was a
So
little
it's
forced, and every time they do this kind of thing, it
They were
feels forced.
Okay, that somehow he's just the
Right. I mean, I just hate it when they get on their soapbox about stuff. All I want to see is a family interacting with each other and the natural comedy that comes out of that. And that it doesn't always have to be about some kind of social issue. I hate when they do that. Rant is over.
Okay. Are you going to be watching some of the animated shows that pop up? Like, what is this? Welcome to the Spider-Verse. And when Disney Plus pops up, and they're going to have their young Teen Titans and all this other song, Young Justice. Are you going to be watching any of the animated shows?
I am not watching Young Justice because I don't like the DC animated universe. As you know, I'm not a fan of the guy that created it or maintains most of it. I forget his name, Tim something. Bruce Timm.
Okay.
I don't know. It always feels flat to me. I don't know why. It just always just does not feel really all that interesting. And I've tried to get into it. I tried to watch Justice League, the show, when it was on. It didn't work for me. I tried out that Teen Titans Judas Contract movie. That didn't work for me. I just don't. It's just not for me.
Okay. It looks like they're completing that. What is it? The Star Wars Disney Hotel. Looks like that's going to be up and running soon enough.
Galaxy's Edge. Yeah. I don't know. I hate to be that guy, but like I don't know that I would go. I love the concept. I love that it exists. I love that it's out there. If there's anything that would probably drag me out of my four walls, it has something like this. But can you imagine how crowded it's going to be for the first at least 3 or 4 years or 5 years?
No, but I probably would watch a YouTube video just to see it walk through.
Oh yeah,
because it just looks like how
I'm
would you like
sure.
to just like enter to some sort of real world? But you're right, it's going to end up being I don't know how
How
they're going
about
to do
this?
it.
How about we plan on going when we retire for a nice trip? That would be fun. I would like
Like
that.
actually sort of like a Morgan Freeman. I don't know.
What do you call it?
Roach.
Kick the bucket list thing?
The bucket list thing, yeah, hit
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
Young whippersnappers, get out of the way. So apparently, let's see here. Amazon Prime is teaming up with Bloomhouse.
Yeah, I
They're
saw
going to be
that.
doing
They're
some
going to
sort
be,
of original content. They're going to be, it looks like Amazon's trying to rival Netflix and shit
right.
like that with coming out with some new shit, pumping it out.
Yeah, I mean that, and as well as the Lord of the Rings show that they're pumping out, which all looks very promising. So, I mean, I imagine that you'll be a happy Amazon Prime subscriber when they start putting these Bloomhouse movies out, right?
Yeah. But they have the Lord of the Rings. They've signed the Russo brothers. They Jordan Pill. Apparently, they're also discussing original movies with several major studios. I don't know what that means. They got The Boys coming up. I don't know what this show, The Good Omens, is, but they
Oh,
have
yeah.
that down on the list. But that's all very exciting. I mean, we're in that heyday. It seems like of original content right now.
Well, yeah, just expect that it's going to probably go up at some point. They can't possibly sustain this kind of development without some kind of influx of cash. And I don't know that your $99 every time you get to also ship something for free for 2 days is going to sustain that kind of development forever.
Have you heard of a TV series on Amazon called Bosch?
Maybe I've heard of it, but that's about it. I haven't even read anything about it.
Apparently, it's got renewed for a sixth season,
Yeah. I
and
think I saw this on my Twitter the other day.
it's the longest running Prime original
Yeah, it's the
series.
oldest Amazon Prime show. Yeah.
And over dinner, Superfan Melissa's husband was just like, can't get enough of Bosch. Now he's also a fan of The Wire and The Shield, which are my top 5 TV shows of all time.
Right.
And so he's highly recommending that I watch Bosch and give it a chance. And so now I'm thinking about doing it, but of course I always ask the question like, how many episodes do I have to watch before I became, will accept whatever they're, because if I have to watch 5, you need to tell me. I don't know if I'll get the 5. He said 2 episodes, and that was good enough. So,
What's it
um,
about?
I think it's about a detective um, that's tackling crime. That's haunted by his mother's death. I think that was the synopsis.
Bitch, don't you think you need to be watching Daredevil before you start yet another TV show?
Yeah.
I mean, really? Why are you so like with Daredevil?
It's because it seems kind of boring. It's the Netflix.
Float. I
It's like
know.
what's
It's
that?
got
What's that
Netflix
stuff
float.
in Turkey? What's that stuff in Turkey? Tryptophan.
Yes.
It's like their Marvel shows are like laced with that shit. Okay.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you that there's way too much yappy and not enough itty. I get it. But you've already watched 2 seasons of it. Don't you want to see how it goes and develops next? You watched.
Sort
Are you there?
Yeah, sort of.
You watched 8 seasons of some crap with some aliens because it had Steven Spielberg's name attached to it, Falling Skies. And each of those seasons, I had like 20 episodes. You can't spare another 13 episodes for Daredevil?
You're absolutely right. But I was laughing.
You were
at
hate
the
watching.
show.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I'll move it up here, and it's only just before Kingpin. Who's the guy that plays Kingpin? My guy.
Michael something? I don't know.
No.
I don't remember.
Did you see this on your Twitter feed about the Hulu wants to do a George R.R. Martin universe?
No, really? George R.R. Martin can't get enough material out to make his own fucking books work. They're going to talk about doing a George R.R. Martin universe? Good luck getting him to work for you.
Apparently, the show's called Wild Card. It's called Wild Card. Virus is passed down through generations and can go undetected until suddenly activated by a traumatic event, at which point the carrier is either killed, mutated, or granted godlike powers.
And this is an idea directly from his imagination, or where is this from?
Well, it's from the world of George R.R. Martin.
Is it a book that's already done, or a book he's yet to write? Because he doesn't exactly work at a
book he's already written.
Okay. Well, then if it's already written, then I guess they can easily adapt it. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, aren't they still waiting for the end of Game of Thrones to be written?
Yeah. Yeah. Still waiting on that audiobook, Bill.
Right.
I feel like they're waiting until the show comes out and then it'll be released after the show. I don't know, but clearly he's
Who
just
would
not.
want to read that book? It's already been done on the show. I mean, I don't understand the thought, the thinking of that.
Things have diverged. The show doesn't necessarily follow everything to the book. So,
Okay, so it'll be like
uh,
an Elseworlds version of the TV show when the book
yeah,
finally comes out.
there's going to be some sort of divergent paths. Not everything's going to line up. So I'm going to still have to listen to the audiobook even if I watch the TV shows. I'm going to have to
Okay.
find out what he came up with on his own. Um,
Didn't they finally release the premiere for the final season of Game of Thrones, like April something?
yeah, they did, and I didn't even watch it or turn it
The
on or
announcement or
no.
whatever.
Yeah, I just need to show up in April. That's all I want to know. I just need to show up in April. And even my woman came to me. It's very cute sometimes when she comes down to me and she's like this. So listen, I heard that Game of Thrones was coming in April.
Oh, my husband does that same shit, right? He's like,
And I
they're doing a Star Wars TV show, right? I'm like, really? What do you
Yeah.
think? Do you think I know?
and I just look at her. I'm like this. Yeah, I knew that like 2 weeks ago. But
I
that's great.
know. It's
Thanks
adorable
for
that they
keep-
try to stay like, relevant to your passions. But I need them to stay like, listen, you have Twitter. You know when the shit tweets across, it comes across my Twitter just like it does yours. Okay? Don't act like
I'm
you're
like-
schooling me on something.
I don't do heroin, but I'm jacked into the internet. I inject internet straight into my veins. That's what every day I just like fucking mainline that shit. Oh,
Right.
it's like
Right. I know. It's like, it's so cute because he's like, they're doing Star Wars. Yeah, got it. Thanks.
You know what I'm waiting for them to do? Instead of the whole thing, what is that? You have that like touchless pad where you can charge your phone or something else like that? Or
No, I tried that and I don't like it because it takes too long to charge.
Okay. I'm waiting for them to be able to put something in my body so I can become like I can just put my phone right into my body.
Like when you hold your phone in your hand, it like charges like some kind of like charging chip. What? That would be awesome. That would be fucking cool. Somebody needs to make that.
You look at me and you're like, oh, Payne, did you get any latest news on what's going on with the Mandalorian? I'm like this, accessing. Accessing. Combing through files as we speak. Going through older posts first. Yeah.
Right.
What else here? What else we got, Bill, before we move on? We might as well hit box office receipts. Let's see here. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't have anything. I didn't really notice much going on.
No.
Did you see the final poster for Aquaman?
I did see the final poster. It looks good.
I know. It looks fucking awesome. I'm actually getting a little bit excited for this movie, even though I have been sort of like a little poo-poo on it. I respect the fact that they're maintaining it in the DCEU, even if it's still the ass end of what they're going to be giving us as far as a connected universe goes. I like the fact that they're still at least making an attempt to sort of reference the universe as a whole. So I'm kind of getting excited for it. The tickets should be on sale any moment. So Friday, I assume, is going to be good for you because we're not going to wait till Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, you have to drive down here, so you have to probably take at least half a day off.
That's not a problem with my job.
Okay. Well, I mean, all of a sudden you start acting like, Bill, they've given me a heavy caseload. I've been working. So, I mean, you've been pulling that shit lately, so I don't know.
Okay, right. You know what? That's fair enough. Okay, let's not try to get me something at 6 o'clock. Okay, let's try to get something at 7:45 or 8. Something where,
motherfucker, do you know what time I go to bed? I am 48 goddamn years old. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock at night.
I know. Dinner was till like 10:40.
Oh,
And but for the alcohol, I can know that some people, once you get the alcohol in, you're like, I can go for 2 hours. For the people who are not drinking as heavily, you're just like, I just kind of want to go home and put on my pajamas and get into bed.
right. Get in your jammy jams, right? Does Chris drink at all? She drinks beer, right?
Oh yeah, she
Okay.
drinks.
Okay.
But she didn't have that much. I think she was waiting for me to get liquored up, and so she probably didn't want to drink because she may have to drive, and
Right.
so I
Okay.
was sort of like all over the place where she was trying to gauge me. So,
You're like, I cannot be tethered. I will have a drink when it's
um,
time.
so your film Venom, which I have yet to see, which people ask me about if I've seen it since they know I do these popular movies, it's still making tons of money. It's doing
Yeah,
well
okay.
over
Let's just
there.
get this out of the way. It's now crossed the amount of money that Justice League made. Whoop de woo woos.
I wasn't going there. I wasn't doing the low hanging fruit. I was just saying it seems it's popular in China because that's where it's open now.
Right. Yeah, listen, it cuts me to the quick every time I read another fucking statistic about Justice League, okay?
Now
The
you
more I watch the movie, the more I fall in love with the movie. So it's
okay.
like your Warcraft.
I was asking. I'm not going with the Justice League rant. I'm just
I
asking.
know.
So, what was the thing with Venom then? What was the hold up for you? You liked some of it, but didn't like all of it. Refresh my memory.
I honestly didn't really like it as a whole, as a general movie. It really didn't really get to me. I mean, the effects were well done, but the
The
story,
effects were well done, but this it was a little bit. The story was disjointed and not put
yeah,
together well.
yeah, I didn't really care for it. Now, are you going to ask me, am I going to buy the Blu-ray? I will. Just because I am afraid that they're going to probably end up putting Spider-Man into this somehow at some point. So, but that's really the only reason I'm buying the Blu-ray.
So the intrigue just happens to be probably just Venom out there being a bad guy and ripping off heads. That seems to me what the
Yeah,
appeal
I
is.
mean, it's very.
He's like an anti-hero, but that's actually that's kicking more ass than let's say Deadpool. He's
I mean, if you're asking me, do I enjoy it more than Deadpool, or do I think the movie's more meritful than Deadpool? Yeah, I do. At least it's not offensive to the point where I just don't even want to watch. Um, but it's definitely schizo. I mean, you have Venom. I mean, it's just jarring. You have Venom talking. I mean, basically, the Eddie Brock is basically a schizophrenic. I mean, he's talking to himself like out loud a lot. I don't know. It's weird.
okay. So apparently, there's also as we're moving towards this, we're gonna get out of here in about 2 hours, less than 2 hours. They're kicking around doing a Johnny Quest movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. I haven't watched Johnny Quest since it was like on Sunday mornings on Channel 21. So I mean,
What we have some of these things I mentioned. It's interesting that obviously with our age bracket here, you say Johnny Quest, you know Johnny Quest. But I
yeah.
imagine like my nephew, if I said Johnny Quest, he'd be like, Johnny who? Johnny what?
I mean, wasn't Johnny Quest always sort of like one of those like lesser cartoons? Like they didn't even bother putting it on Saturday mornings. They saved it for like Sunday on local TV. I mean, it wasn't exactly getting the ratings bonanza like Super Friends or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, I kind of enjoy Johnny Quest with
I like
Race
Johnny
King.
Quest too, but it always felt like the B list instead of the A list characters. And
Was
then
there
how
any
are they going to
racial
get away with
tones
a
with that?
character named Haji with a towel on his head?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like it might. They're gonna have to update it. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to update it.
You
Um,
can't get away with a character named Haji with a towel on his head these days. I'm sorry. That just isn't going to work for people.
okay, so the reboot. What is this of Suspiria?
Right?
Which looks very good to me. As I comb through some of my podcast topic files, the title of the article says "The Suspiria Ending Explained by Dakota Johnson." In case you're confused.
Okay.
I don't want to see that because that seems to imply to me that there's might be the potential for confusion.
Right.
Um, I don't know. All right. Viggo Mortensen offers advice for young Aragorn in the Amazon's Lord of the Rings series. Did you see that?
I did not. I tuned out of Viggo Mortensen when he said something. It was a racial thing like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, Viggo, stop putting your foot in it." You
He
heard
said
this,
that?
right?
No, I did not.
I
Tell it
think
to
he
me.
used the N word in describing like how people. It was not ill
Oh,
intended.
oh, he apologized profusely and said he would never say it again. And
Right.
is that? I think I saw part of it. I don't know if I
Yeah, I
really
don't think it
delved
was ill
further into it.
intended, but some of these people just don't get it. Just don't say it. It's fine.
I got you. They're all thinking they can somehow
Yeah,
run
he's
through
like,
the
it's
gauntlet.
okay. I'm down with gay people. I have gay friends. Okay. Okay.
um. Anyway, we're still very excited about what do you call it? Lord of the Rings franchise.
Well, yeah, I
When is
imagine
it dropping? When is it dropping, Bill?
I don't know. I haven't heard a time frame. I think it's not going to be for at least another year, maybe longer.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me. I finished a thought on that. Game of Thrones is coming in April 2019, and according to my woman, it's going to be epic. The episodes are going to be like an hour and a half, and
Yeah,
it's
I
going
heard
to
they're going to
be
be feature length. Yeah.
yeah. She said like she looked at me and she goes, "I hear they're just going to be really great," and I was just like, "Oh, duh."
Really? Now, does she watch Game of Thrones with you?
No, no, she
Okay.
doesn't. She might have turned on one or two episodes, but you know what I feel about it is you really just can't come in and just watch something like in the fifth season.
Well, it's
You,
like the eighth season. I mean, you've got like the entire like history of the
uh,
show. She could catch up by then.
yeah, but you have to be willing to, you've got to. I mean, that's fine. I've got a list of shows. We can watch The Shield. We can watch The Sopranos. We can watch The Wire. Look like a Game of Thrones. I'd be willing to do Breaking Bad, but right now, it's just a lack of
You
commitment.
have
You
to
know?
get her invested in shit that's relevant to her. Like her girlfriends have to be talking about it at work or something. It
Oh,
has to be something that she feels like is, culturally important.
you're absolutely right. It's almost like I have to pay one of those bitches like $20 to just sit there and like, can you just start dropping hints about like how good it is? And then
Right.
she'll come home and she'll be like, "What's this show? What's this horror show called? Is it
Right.
called The Purge? Is
Which
it a
is
good
why I'm
show?"
surprised that you guys haven't got into This Is Us, because I think that's like the water cooler show of like women
Oh,
of a certain age at this point right now.
listen, it's what is it called? It's making its money off of SAP. I got no time
Yeah.
for the SAP though. I mean,
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
know,
hearing
but
is
I'm
people at work
sure.
talk about it like I cry every episode or shed a tear. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I don't need to be crying every episode.
Would you watch a show that your girlfriend was interested in because of like I said, the water cooler effect or whatever, that you wouldn't necessarily watch on your own, so that maybe she would be interested in that, make you interested in it?
Listen, I watch a lot of the Learning Channel. Okay, I watch Little Couple. I watch
Are
Steven
you
Johnson.
implying that if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be watching The Littlest Couple?
Listen, I'm just saying I'm now become like, in between HBO, Netflix, and Shutter. You might as well add TLC to my top five things. I watch. I'm like, oh, what's on? You know what's on television? You know what? Fuck it. Here, my great American Gypsy Wedding. Just throw it on. It's the Learning Channel. It's good. Let's see here.
My
What's on?
600-pound life.
Yeah, just throw it on. I just throw it on there. So,
Do you have Dr. Pimple Popper marathons?
yeah, I just pop it on, Bill. I just put on the Learning Channel. So yeah, yeah, I watch the shows. Now we haven't gone outside of like let's say Dateline. She'll watch Hell's Kitchen. Um, but yeah,
What's that? Is that a
we
cooking
haven't
show?
gone into like a scripted TV show, if you will. We
Right.
we
You guys
haven't.
don't watch one single scripted TV show. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. So I
Okay.
mean, we might have been able to do X Files, but those episodes just weren't really good.
Well, they're not. I think it's. Did I hear that it was canceled? Maybe, or maybe
Yeah,
it's not. I don't know.
those newer episodes just were kind of weird,
Okay.
and so much
What
that you go ahead.
about shit? What's that show? Haunting on Hill House. Are you watching that?
It's in the queue.
Really?
It has a stench on it. It has a stench on it, but
I've heard good things on my Twitter.
really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a chance. When certain people come to you, like in my office, and the taste in their movies are like, yeah, you know what my best horror movie is? It's that Hostel movie. Where they're torturing Saw 7, and you're like, oh, okay. This is the type of people I'm dealing with. And like Blackula. Oh, I love Blackula, man. Have you seen Blackula 7? Okay. And so when they come to me and they say, you know what, I really enjoy the Haunting of Hill House or whatever it's called, it makes me kind of just sit there and be like, is this the
But it's
one?
Netflix. It automatically gets a certain cachet with you just because of where it's at.
Well, Netflix is
It's
they're
also
really
in your oeuvre.
they're pushing out a lot of stuff now. A lot of stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you
everything.
have a lot of time. Let's not act like you don't have a lot of time to watch this stuff.
Okay.
Okay? You're not
I'm,
racing around trying to chase after some kind of rugrats other than fur and scooties. So let's not
I
act like
mean,
you
you
enjoy
haven't
looking
watched
at
it. I mean, that might be on your wheelhouse too, right?
it. It's Halloween. Halloween's over. We're done. Maybe next October. We're moving into Thanksgiving now. It's time for Charlie Brown specials and fucking Christmas movies. So
Okay. All right. So let us. How about we head over to? Oh, they're doing a Color Purple musical.
they are. Well, it's been done, so they're adapting the stage play musical.
Okay. What's the word on the sci-fi TV series The Deadly Class?
Now that's got a stench on it for me.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, because the trailer doesn't really speak to me, and the premise sounds a little bit ridiculous. Isn't it about the kids who are?
It's a secret academy that trains teenagers how to be expert killers.
Yeah,
It's still sci-fi.
it sounds like Black Widow and her amazing friends. I don't know. I'm not dying for it.
Do they have superpowers?
No, they're just trained assassins.
Oh, that's it.
I think so. Now, what's the difference in that and Umbrella Academy? Isn't Umbrella Academy something similar?
I think the Umbrella Academy actually is also these what Deadly Class and Umbrella Academy are both based on comic books,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure. Maybe Umbrella Academy they have superpowers, which seem to give them me. If I have to watch something, I'm leaning towards that.
Right. But one of them, Deadly Class is produced by your boys, the Russos. And we all know how you like to lick the crack of the Russos.
Yeah, but I've seen that trailer, and it's got some CW stink on it already. Like it's
How
kind of.
dare you imply that the Russos would have anything to do with something so basic?
I know. I see. This is the problem here. I I don't
You
know.
have to have faith in your people, Jay. Your people have given you hours of entertainment, of some of the best entertainment in films that you have enjoyed in the past decade. You're not going to give them the respect of seeing at least the pilot of their show that they've worked hard and produced to make for people that like their work.
You're absolutely right. I will, and I will probably shut it off after the first episode if I'm not.
And
It
that's
better
fine.
impress me in the first episode. It's got a
That's
first
fine.
episode chance here because it already looks kind of funky to me.
I think
Um,
Joe and Anthony would appreciate just the fact that you give the time of day to one episode of their show.
it's more than I gave Cloak and Dagger, so I guess that'll
Oh,
be a start.
ouch. And here's the other thing about Cloak and Dagger. Ask me if I missed it. Like, it doesn't seem like this is the same thing with all these other Marvel Netflix shows. It's like, if it doesn't make any difference whether the movies are affected by it or not, I don't really know that I care that much. Because my primary connection to this universe is through the movies.
Yeah, that's all they have to say to you like this. Cloak and Dagger maybe in the next Marvel movie. You're like, what? Cloak and Dagger is gonna be in the next Marvel movie.
Yeah,
I gotta find out what these characters are about.
right. But as it is now, whether they exist or not doesn't seem to make one shit of difference. Right? Same thing with Runaways. Doesn't seem to make one shit of difference. I can't wait till Disney Plus comes along and finally we will have something produced on the Marvel cinematic side as far as television goes, where we could have like Loki in a show where at the very least you could say at least it's a character that's featured in the fucking movies. Okay? Even if it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking movies, at least it has something similar or connection of some kind. God, is it too much to ask? It's like you're always talking about they're always licking around the sides of things, never getting to the meat of the matter.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to make a baby, and they're playing with your toes. That's what they're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. All right. Well. All right. So for the box office mojo, Bill, the weekend of November 16th through the 18th is birthday weekend. Um, I'm going to read probably the top 10 movies, and point out a few other things here as we go through. So the number one movie opening this weekend, which I did not know, was Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Look how much you care.
Fuck, it made 62 million. I don't know if that's good for them or not, but
I think they said
apparently
it was less than Fantastic Beasts 1, but not like disastrous numbers.
it made a shit ton of money overseas, 200 million.
Wow.
So if you're telling me it made less money than the first one, then Payne's
Well,
Paragotherium theory means that this series is going in the wrong direction.
right.
I didn't think the first one was good, and the second one is doing less money domestically than the first one starting off. It's just the opening weekend. I just don't really find it. I just don't find it to be a strong series. I just don't know why. It's like trading on the Harry Potter name. But listen, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I think the show is just fucking weak. It's just weak, man.
Right.
And I feel like the people are just desperate to stay connected to the Harry Potter world. But just let it go. Let it go. Fine. Anyway, number two. In its second week of release, Dr. Seuss The Grinch looks interesting to me. Actually, looks funny.
I don't know. I've seen some of these Sony Dr. Seuss adaptations. Like I think they made one of the Lorax, and they made one,
Yeah. Okay.
maybe the Cat in the Hat. It was another one. I can't remember what it was, and I thought they both stunk. Oh,
Oh, really?
Horton
Okay.
Hears a Who. I thought Horton Hears a Who stunk too. Um,
Oh, so you're
so
just saying based on the track record,
of the company that's making these
the trailer
Dr. Seuss.
seems to be interesting, but the actual
The trailer, I'm not even sure the trailer looks all that great. I don't want them to fuck up the Grinch. I mean, I love the Grinch, and I don't want to watch 2 hours of something where I'm like going, oh, when is this over? So I think this might have to be one that we either rent or, buy unseen.
okay. Well, it pulled in another 38 million, and its budget was 75 million, and it's already up to 126 million in its second week.
Well, it is
So
Christmas time, and it's one of the only Christmas movies out so far.
kids got to go see something, right?
Right.
The number three movie in its third week of release, Bohemian Rhapsody, pulled in another 15 million, bringing its grand total worldwide to 384 million.
That seems like a
Um,
hit.
it's made 127 million here in America and about 250 million overseas. The Power of Queen, number
Never
four.
underestimate the power of queens.
There you go.
Uh,
Number four, Instant Family, in its opening week with Mark Wahlberg, pulled in $14 million.
Oh, that seems rough.
Uh-huh. Mark Wahlberg plays that like everyman dad role very well. That seems like a wheelhouse film.
Yeah,
Just
he's
go
every
into
man with a body that looks like Adonis. Sure.
Well, he leaves his shirt on and just does that whole thing like, hey, with the kids. It's anyway. And something, I guess maybe it might be tough competition. I thought it seemed interesting. The reviews don't seem to be as kind. In its opening week, Widows pulled
Well, that
in.
didn't do very well at all.
No, it pulled in $12 million. Director Steve McQueen, starring Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Colin Farrell, John Berthenol, Robert Duvall, Liam Neeson. I thought it would do better than what it did.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Luckily, the budget's only 42 million, so maybe they can get some of their money back. But that's not a good start for them.
No, it's not. Debuting at number 5 is never a good number.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with you. But this is tough when you have all these movies opening. Too many choices for people. But I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. Number 6 movie, The Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
What has it made? $2.50 now?
Well, it's in its third week, and it's pulled in domestically $43 million.
Yeah, how much
Its
did it cost?
budget is $120 million.
Yeah. Box office poison. That's what that is.
Its total worldwide gross is 116 million, so it's still 4 million short of even getting back to its budget.
Yeah.
Um,
There won't be a
so-
Nutcracker in the 5 realms.
so what's the deal with this? Nobody wanted to see this. What's the
Well,
problem
it got
with this?
critical drubbings for one thing. Also, there was some issue with the directors. They pulled Lasse Hallström, who actually is a very good director. I like his work. Off the movie and replaced him with Joe Johnston from Star Wars fame, and also he directed uh, Captain America: The First Avenger
Okay.
and The Rocketeer.
Oh.
But apparently, he couldn't save it either, and the critics ripped it a new shred, a hole like everywhere.
Okay. A couple more movies, Bill. Just to note, the eighth movie in its second week of release, Overlord, produced by J.J. Abrams. Total gross is 32 million. Its budget is 38. It's the number 8 movie. I'm a
Okay,
big fan of the way the movie looks. Um,
bomb.
it's a bomb. Yeah, but this seems like this is the route it was going. I couldn't imagine a lot of people going to see Overlord. It seems like it would be a big hit on disc, maybe a cult classic on disc.
They might have wanted to release it a couple of weeks earlier, also around, I don't know, Halloween time.
Halloween instead of like watching zombies and guts and gores right as we're nearing Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. Should we watch The Grinch or zombies? I don't know. I
It's
don't
a,
know.
I don't. I'm. Not, I don't. My movie choices aren't dictated by the holidays, but I can see how this doesn't seem appropriate. Um,
It's a World War II era zombie movie. It's again one of those things like they try to do with Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter, and
yeah, there you go.
it's these mashups that I don't know. Most people are like, "What the fuck is this?"
You know what? It looks great to me when I rent it on disc in a few
I,
months.
I don't think when they got all the cast together and they got a director hired and they started deciding the budget of the movie that they went, you know what our headline for a review is going to be? It'll look great on disc. I don't think that's the idea they had when they made it.
Okay. Number 9 in its second week of release, The Girl in the Spider Webs. The Girl in the Spider's Web.
It's
A
the
new
second
dragon.
week.
Its second week,
Ugh.
it's the number 9 film, and it pulled in $2 million,
Oh my god.
bringing its total to $26 million worldwide on a budget of 43 million.
It's over. They keep trying to make these girl in the, you know, whatever movies, and they keep failing. Why don't they just give it up?
Now, Clara Foy is playing was Elizabeth Salander, and it's directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead remake, and so obviously I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of the Girl and the Dragon tattoo stories. This one is not getting very good reviews. Um,
Or anybody actually going to see it,
that
which is a
too.
double whammy.
Yeah, that too. I feel as though like the marketing for this seems like it's trying to make it like an atomic bomb, atomic blonde, Lucy, peppermint, female kick-ass superhero.
Well, that's what the character's supposed to be, isn't it?
It's supposed to be more toned down than what it is. They're making her like James Bond in the shit.
Oh, she's
And
not like that in the book.
no, it's supposed to be completely toned down. And she's doing all sorts of things like jumping in tubs to hide from explosions. It just becomes a little bit too MI6, Tom Cruise, and Mission Impossible bullshit. But,
Well, apparently it didn't work for anybody. Like anybody.
but then again, these stories are kind of intense, and around the holidays, that
Yeah,
seems
but it's
like
an
a niche.
action movie.
That's like a niche.
Well, I don't know that they're going to keep going back to this. Well, I mean, again, they keep trying to make this is like the third version of this series. This series isn't they made a German version of the trilogy, then they made the American version of that version. Now they're trying to reboot it with this version, and
Well, they're
none
not
of them.
rebooting it. This is a new story.
Okay, so but it's the same character, but it's not. Was it a book?
Yes, it's based
Okay.
on I think the yes,
But it's the same character, right?
same character, but it's just a new adventure. New adventure.
So it's kind of a reboot of the character because they didn't cast the same girl as the.
Yes, I guess you can say that it's a
Okay.
new new person playing the character in a new adventure, but
Right.
they're not redoing. Let's say the
Spider's
first
Web.
story. I can't
Or
yes, whatever the first story
the girl
was.
that kicked
I
the
mean, that's
train
what
or whatever
Fincher.
it is.
Yeah, yeah, which was what Fincher did.
Right.
He rebooted the first one. I'm still waiting for Fincher's second
Are
movie
you?
on
I
that.
wouldn't hold my breath.
Okay.
Especially after this. Do you think they're going to make another one?
You're right. When you walk into go, I like to do the. Oh no, have you seen these numbers? It just barely beat out a movie called Nobody's Fool.
Yeah.
Okay, which was Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah. We're not doing that.
The funny thing is, the Tiffany Haddish movie, directed by Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah, that's got the girl from Glee in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made like $30 million. It's actually beat. I mean, I think it's ahead of the girl in the spider's web.
You know the
So,
black people all still come around. They round the wagons around Tyler Perry movies. You know that's how they do.
oh, okay.
That's how they do.
Um, um, all right. What else do we have? Are we done? I think we're going to wrap this up.
I think we're wrapping it up.
All right. So, what are you going to do for this evening then?
I've been watching. Oddly enough, I'm having this like mini binge of comic book documentaries. Like I watched the one about Bill Finger on Hulu. I think it's called Bill and Me, about the co-creator of Batman who never got any credit for it.
Okay.
I'm watching Necessary Evil, the villains of DC Comics, the Secret Origin, the story of DC Comics. I'm watching comic book movie documentaries. I don't know why. Right now, I'm watching Necessary Evil, the supervillains of DC. I think I'm on a DC thing because Aquaman, maybe.
Okay. I think it's probably appropriate.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
we'll be
fine with
seeing
that.
that in about a month or so.
What's the date today? The 18th? Yep, almost exactly a month.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. I think that's a news alert coming up on my computer here. So let's just wrap this up. By the way, I have some thoughts on the Meg. I'm going to probably call you after this show ends, just so I can give you my 2 cents and then
Okay.
let you go for the rest of your evening.
Okay.
Um, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting together for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'll see you less than a week.
Less than a week. So I like to say happy Thanksgiving to all our fans. May you have some, interesting turkey and some good quality time with loved ones.
Absolutely.
And we will see you in 2 weeks. I've been your
Bye.
co-host, Payne.
I'm Bill.
Peace out.